Tonight, when you turn off the light, something very old will wake up inside you. It only lasts a moment. You reach for the switch, the room goes black, and for a heartbeat your body tightens, your ears sharpen, your eyes strain against nothing. Some small, quiet part of you scans the dark for a thing that isn't there. Then it passes. You climb into bed. You feel a little silly for it. But here is the strange thing. You are an adult. You live behind locked doors, in a heated room, in a city where nothing is hunting you. You know, completely, that you are safe. And yet the feeling comes anyway. It doesn't ask your permission. It doesn't care what you know. So tonight, let's ask a simple question. Why are you still afraid of the dark? The answer isn't weakness. It isn't childishness. It's older than your house, older than your language, older than your species. The fear you feel when the lights go out is not really your fear at all. It was handed to you, across an unimaginable stretch of time, by ancestors who needed it to survive. To understand it, you have to forget the story you were told. You were probably taught that early humans were hunters, strong, clever, fearless, the top of the food chain from the very beginning. It's a flattering picture. It's also, for most of our history, wrong. In 2005, two researchers named Donna Hart and Robert Sussman published a book with a title that turned that story upside down. They called it Man the Hunted. Their argument was simple and unsettling. For millions of years, our ancestors were not the hunters. They were the hunted. They were small. They were slow. They had no claws, no fangs, no armor. They could not see well in the dark, and they shared the land with some of the most efficient killers that have ever lived. To a leopard, to a lion, to a hyena, an early human was not a rival. It was a meal, and we have the bones to prove it. In South Africa, there is a cave called Swartkrans. Decades ago, a scientist named C.K. Brain spent years studying the bones piled inside it, trying to understand how they got there. For a long time, people assumed caves like this were the homes of early humans, that our ancestors dragged their food inside and left the scraps behind. Brain looked closer, and he saw something else. Among the bones was a piece of a young hominin skull, known today by a quiet catalog number, SK54. In the back of that skull were two neat round holes, two punctures, side by side, a precise distance apart. Brain compared them to the jaw of a leopard. The spacing matched its two lower fangs exactly. This was not a home. This child had been killed, carried up into a tree by a leopard the way leopards still carry their kills today, and eaten. The cave below collected what fell. Our ancestors were not the ones bringing food into the dark. Sometimes, they were the food. And Swartkrans is not alone. You may have heard of the Taung Child. It was found in 1924, and a scientist named Raymond Dart used it to show the world that humanity's roots ran deep into Africa. For a long time, the Taung Child was simply a famous ancestor, a small face staring out across 2 million years. Then later researchers, including Lee Berger, looked again at the marks on those tiny bones. The damage around the eye sockets, the punctures, the pattern of it, matched something specific. It matched the way a large eagle tears into a monkey. The Taung Child had not died of old age. It had been taken from above, by a bird of prey, snatched out of the world before it ever grew up. So, sit with that for a moment. Death did not only come from the grass, it came from the trees, it came from the shadows, and worst of all, it came at night, because almost every great predator that hunted your ancestors shared one terrible advantage. They owned the dark. A lion's eyes gather light far better than yours. A leopard moves through blackness like it's nothing, silent, patient, watching long before it strikes. A hyena's clan can run down anything that stumbles in the night. They could see you. You could not see them. And you, the human, were built for the day. Your eyes are made for color and detail in bright light, not for the dark. When the sun went down, Your single greatest sense simply switched off. You went, in an instant, from a creature that could watch the horizon to a creature that was blind and surrounded. Think about what that meant, night after night, for 100,000 generations. When darkness fell, the world did not just get dimmer, it got more dangerous. The hours of sleep were the hours of greatest risk. And the individuals who survived those hours, who lived long enough to have children, were not the calm ones. They were not the ones who wandered cheerfully into the black. They were the ones who felt afraid. The ones whose hearts raced at a snapped twig. The ones who stayed close to the fire, close to the group, close to the cave wall. The ones who startled at a shape in the shadows and climbed to safety before they understood why. Their fear cost them nothing on the nights when there was no leopard, and on the one night there was, it saved their lives. So the fear spread. Generation after generation, the nervous survived, and the fearless did not. And slowly, that alarm was written into the body itself, into the wiring of the brain, until it no longer had to be learned at all. Which brings us to the part of you that still flinches. Deep inside your brain sit two small clusters, each about the size of an almond. They are called the amygdala. A neuroscientist named Joseph LeDoux spent his career studying them, and what he found is the key to your whole nighttime self. The amygdala is your threat detector, and it is fast, far faster than thought. It can react to danger before the thinking, reasoning part of your brain even knows what's happening. It is built to act first and ask questions later, because for your ancestors, the cost of overreacting to a harmless sound was a moment of wasted fear, while the cost of underreacting, even once, was death. So your brain was tuned, by selection, to assume the worst. Now think about what darkness does to a brain like that. It takes away your information. It removes the one sense that could say, "It's fine, there's nothing there." And into that empty space, your ancient threat detector pours its oldest expectation. You don't actually fear the dark. You never did. You fear what the dark could be hiding. The darkness is just a blank screen, and your mind, helpfully, terribly, fills it with the predator that isn't there. This is why children feel it most sharply. Their thinking brain, the part that reasons and reassures, is still developing. The ancient alarm is fully present, but the calming voice that says, "You're safe," is still being built. So they lie awake, certain something waits in the closet, in the hallway, under the bed. We call it imagination. It is really memory. The memory of a species that once had very good reasons to fear the things it could not see. It may even follow you into sleep. A researcher named Antti Revonsuo proposed an idea about why we dream the way we do. He noticed that dreams are full of threats. We are chased, we are caught, we fall, we flee, we hide. He suggested this isn't random. He suggested the dreaming brain is a kind of rehearsal, a safe place to practice escaping danger, so that when real danger comes, the response is already there. If he's right, then even your nightmares are a gift from the hunted. A drill, run over and over in the dark, by a mind that still half expects the leopard. And this is the quiet truth at the center of it all. The fear you feel is not broken. It is not irrational. It is a survival system that worked perfectly for an unimaginably long time in a world that no longer exists. That's the real reason it feels so strange. The danger is gone, but the alarm remains. You are running ancient software in a world it was never designed for. There is no leopard at Swartkrans waiting for you. There is no eagle above the grass. But the part of you that learned to fear them never got the message that the hunt was over. So the next time the lights go out and you feel that small, involuntary tightening in your chest, try not to be embarrassed by it. Instead, understand it for what it is. That feeling is a thread running back through every ancestor who ever lay awake in the dark and listened. It is the leopard at the cave mouth. It is the child carried into the trees. It is 100,000 nights of survival compressed into a single instinctive shiver. You are not afraid of the dark because something is wrong with you. You are afraid of the dark because everyone who wasn't is gone. Tonight, when you turn off the light, something very old will wake up inside you. Now you know its name. It kept your ancestors alive long enough to give you everything you are. So let it whisper its warning, thank it quietly, and go to sleep. The hunt is over, but the part of you that survived it will never quite believe that, and maybe it shouldn't.